Whoa, 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 am I right? Magnus Carlsen one game away from possibly losing his #1 ranking. Uh, we pretty much always start the Chess Today show with a little bit of chess because everybody here really wants instruction and interaction on the chessboard. Cares a little bit less about news, but this is a big story. Let's check this out real quick and see what happened here today. He obviously lost his game to who I didn't even know, but it looks like just to Vladimir Kramnik. And the big story is that with him losing, and probably Wesley So continuing to do well. No, who's number 2? Who's potentially going to be number 2? I just got to see this. He's only 6. Oh, so Kramnik. Kramnik, obviously. Yeah, duh. He's right there, right? Kramnik is right there after beating Carlsen. Just amazing to see that generation of players. Kramnik, Gelfand, Anand, those guys just never go away, do they, right? And it's just awesome to see him. So, all right, let's dive into some chess. Hi, everybody. International Master Danny Rensch here, sporting the Chess Geek shirt. Get one, because we're all proud chess geeks here on the Chess Today show. Big news, obviously, coming out of Norway with Magnus Carlsen not performing well on his home turf. Maybe we'll get into a little bit more of the content later as part of the Chess Today show. We try to dive into some of the news and happenings, but before anything else, and without further ado, let's jump in and solve the daily puzzle, because it's a good one today. Let's take a look at this. So this is one of those positions where you're calculating to avoid stalemating the enemy king, right? So if you move the king over and he pushes either 1 or 2, if you capture the pawn via en passant or anything else, it's stalemate. But if you move the king away, then he just gets out, right? So you have no choice here. You have to stalemate the king. The question is where, because sometimes these tactics are really about the mating net that follows in sort of a tricky way. So if I had to guess, the guess is I'm going to put the king on c2, and I'm not going to capture the pawn. I'm going to get a queen, and at the end of the line, I'm going to be taking the pawn on b3. He's going to be getting a queen, but I get a queen, he gets a queen, and then I checkmate him on h1 without doing any calculation, just knowing and having seen so many of these puzzles before. Now let's calculate. King c2, b5, a6, b4, a7, b3 check, all only moves, captures pawn, king b1, a8 queen, a1 queen, queen h1 mate. So the only question is there anything faster? Of course the answer is going to be no. So we're just going to jump in and follow through with the calculation we just did. So how are our strong players able to kind of see those things so fast? I mean, the big thing is that okay, I guess the puzzle ends here because after the black queen, of course, there's checkmate in 1 on h1, but there's also checkmate in 2 with the queen coming to e4 check and then coming to c2 with mate, right? So they end the puzzle here. But all right, a fun daily puzzle, a decent one. You know, the way endgames are the part of the game where you really don't improve one without the other, meaning there's the technical aspect and the practical aspect. The practical aspect of endgames is that they involve a lot of calculation. When you're actually playing an endgame, some people try to play faster in the endgame, or they have this sort of inherent bias or assumption that with less pieces on the board, there's less to think about, when really it's completely far from that. And the truth is the endgame is so close to losing or winning often on like one move because there's so little chances to maneuver your way back into a mistake. That really the practical aspect of endgames is a lot of calculation, a lot of focus, and a lot of I go there, he goes there, I go there, he goes there type of calculation as deeply as you can, not like intuitive calculation where you calculate a few moves and you're trying to generally assess something and develop a plan from there. So you'll notice this kind of puzzle is exactly that. It's just a very straightforward line of all forced moves, you know, 5, 6, 7 move combo. But the technical part of endgames, which is just a whole bunch of positions you need to know. Lucina, Philidor, right? You start going through all these rook ending positions and king and pawn endings. So really, like, you don't get better at calculating until you have a pretty decent amount of technical knowledge sitting in that database in your head, because you're pulling on those patterns while you're trying to calculate. If you're not, you may have all the skills of calculation, you may have all the skills of driving a car, but if you don't know what your goal is, you know, you don't know what you're doing, right? So you have to have both the technical aspect of endgames. You have to study endgames. Unfortunately, some of them are just tricky. You just got to learn them, and that makes you, it gives you the ability to solve positions like this real fast. And then you have to have the practical commitment to calculate to play endgames at a high level. So there you go. That is my quick and dirty thought about the endgame, and we do our first moment of the day where we check in with the chatters. We're going to start with Twitch and see who's here, who has joined us in the Twitch chat, the Twitch community, popping in for the Chess Today show. Appreciate you being with us if you are here. Again, this is a kind of a casual style show. We're going to hop in and play some daily chess moves and provide some analysis. BJH13, as usual, is here. Andy from Wales, Boomtown, also a subscriber. Z Nation Chess, I'm doing okay. Thanks for asking. Appreciate you asking. I'm doing okay, but I wouldn't say I'm doing phenomenal. I hurt my back recently in a CrossFit workout. Seriously, I need to work on that. Probably I need to cut a few, but doing really good overall. Besides that, I have all these chairs in my office that don't have back support because on like the green screen and the camera, I try not to have any obstruction, right? Full Metal Duck is not here, but he is in the chat, so that's phenomenal. No, I actually respect that. You could not be here. You could be time traveling, like on a consciousness level, right? Consciousness time travel, and you know, remember, time and space is it's not linear, right? It's quantum. So embrace that. But anyway, I got a sore back, so that's bothered me. If you really want to know how I'm doing, and that wasn't just an absolute ask. You love the chess with amateurs. You love the puzzles part. Thank you, Deep Fluke. Good to know. Yesterday's show was a little choppy because Sean's connection was bad on the audio. Sorry about that, but we are going to continue amateur hour going. Over to the Chess TV chat. We've got awesome people here. Nick Hain, what's up, man? We've got Just Mud. We've got Axon. We've got Physics. I just say the names how I want. Tom Harper. He likes to keep things in the realm of science if possible. Don't even know what that means, but I will pop back to the chat in just a moment after making my daily chess moves. So if you have any questions and you want to interact, remember, the questions don't have to just be educational. You got questions about chess.com, about features, about anything. I am here at your disposal during the Chess Today show. It doesn't surprise Nicholas Palmer that Carlsen is one game away from losing. I'm interested to hear about that, why he thinks that. So let's dive into the daily chess games, and then we will come back and talk a little bit of Magnus. I think a lot of people might actually want to engage on that topic, even though normally you guys are just here for the chess. That's kind of a big story. Big story. So we'll talk a little Magnus. So here we go. So I took on F1. You guys remember, this is a game where I kind of haven't really been buying my opponent's attack. I've just been full steam ahead on the queen side, and then I set up this trap where I'm threatening to take F2, and he kind of just allowed it, so I capture. The point was that even if he had captured, I take at the end of the line, his rook is hanging, right? So, you know, that left him with a little bit of a tough position. I'm able to kind of simplify and trade out. But the question now is, am I getting nervous at all? Do I change my tone? Do I want to make any sort of defensive moves here? Am I taking any defensive measures? Probably the answer is no, and sometimes good calculation prevents you from having to make unnecessary defensive moves. Like if I just take A3, let's just analyze, right? If I just take A3 and it looks scary and he goes here and I go here, what's his next move? If he, maybe he has a draw, so I do have to be careful with this, right? Because if I go here, he could take and then give check. Aha. So there's this check on D3, of course, to consider. Oh, wait a second. I also have my queen on A3, right? So if he takes and gives this check and I move and he checks, I can go here. So nice to know that I was kind of in a blunder-free zone there. Even if I had messed up, I actually have a way out. But so if that's the case and I have to take with the F pawn, well, then that is a little irritating, right? I don't want the E6 pawn to become weak. Accurate calculation here is going to win this game either way. I mean, bishop D7, and then what does he play, right? But maybe just the fact that we've established he has a little bit of something means I should be a little less cavalier, because the way to do that is to play like a move like check. And then regardless of how he deals with it, play moves like queen F5 and just say, you know what, I'm putting the kibosh on all your plans, buddy. Get out of here. This is the human way to approach this position, by the way. Notice that That's where amateurs or beginners sometimes who criticize top players and say they don't play enough, oh, like the engine says this or whatever. This is a very good example of where a human wants to approach this position versus a computer. The computer is going to, it only thinks in math, right? It's just going to calculate, is white checkmating me or not? If not, then queen takes pawn, just gets more material. Hashtag duh, right? That's what the computer's going to do. But a human is looking at this, and I don't want to apply my full effort if I think I'm winning. I want to rely on my intuition. I also know that if I just get the queens off the board, he can't checkmate me. Everything I just said is a general sort of essence evaluation, right? It's not concrete in that I go there, he goes there, he's either checkmating me or not. Because one, humans shouldn't play that way anyway because you're more prone to make errors. That's a higher level, difficult aspect of chess. That's why playing endgames at a high level is tough, right? But it's also not as practical because a lot of times you can sort of shape and mold. Now, you can't try to intuitively feel your way through a position that requires calculation, but in a position where I'm winning, I'm just going to play queen d3 check here. And I mean, right? I mean, I'm going to play queen d3 check. He's going to move. I'm going to play queen f5. And even if he keeps the queens on the board, so what? Right? Just push. Now he's running out of time. Like now if takes, and even here I just like push again. Just too much, right? I mean, I'm gonna get a queen, and then he's gonna move, and I'm gonna take my bishop back, and so again, like this may not be the most accurate approach, but it's the approach that's the most practical and most irritating for my opponent to face and deal with. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now he plays d4. He obviously has some ideas of tactics here, but what? I'm just going to take it. Probably it's a good practical move for him anyway because his bishop is just getting strangled here, right? So he plays d4, and I think I'm just going to take. No real tactical consequences, at least not immediately. He plays rook to d8. I guess that's interesting. Now I have some issues because if I try to guard the pawn either way, he maybe has this check with the pony, which is kind of irritating. I don't really buy it, but how do I want to approach this position with the pawn on d4? I got to take it. And if he takes it, maybe I just play king to d3, right? Put the king on the file, and it looks, that's the thing you want to avoid. It feels a little weird, but where's the concrete follow-up? I see it not. Hashtag Yoda. Wait, did Yoda even say that? That sounds more Shakespearean, right? Knight b6. I'm going to play quickly in this one. Bishop to d3. You have to develop the knight. You have to develop the bishop because you don't want the knight to come into c4. After he plays knight to b6, if I make some other move, or even like castles, he's threatening b4, and then I can't go to a4 anymore. If I go to e2, then his knight is getting the c4 square. Things are getting a little crazy. So bishop d3 makes sense. It also keeps the possibility that I may castle short, I may castle long. It's a nice flexible developing move, and me likey. Okay, well, success here, right? I have proven that this little tickle game of the queens against the FIDE master Mike Klein has defended round one. That's what that move suggests, right? Getting a text message suggests that I've been ignoring my wife for too long, and she's mad. King to g7 feels like if I was playing blitz, that's the move I would play here. Why? Because it guards f7, puts the king on a square where it's kind of guarding everything, makes me feel like I have less tactics to worry about. Like queen a7, forking the pawn. So just intuitively, in like blitz, like I want to guard my weaknesses and kind of just keep putting the pressure on him to find a plan that says he's winning. If I'm calculating beyond that, a5 is a move I would consider to also put the pawn on a square that's guarded by the queen. Queen to b5 is a move I would consider here to just put pressure on b2 and again put the queen on a still useful square. But king to g7 feels right, and it also prevents moves like queen f4 from being a big deal. Now I can just take here, and he can't win my bishop. See, like in the other position, if you play a5, I wonder if he could try to force like a simplification if he wants that endgame. I don't know. So I'm going to play king to g7 and kind of see exactly what FIDE master Mike Klein's plan is. Although he's going to play c4, isn't he? King g7. He's going to play c4. Nice. He's got a c pawn, don't he, right? Oh, wait. Look at that little tactic, right? Absolutely. Absolutely, right? He takes it. A little bit of a check here. All right, so c4 is not really a threat. King g7 it is. And down to our final game. I think I follow through with my plan of d3 and double the rooks on the d file. The only question is there some sort of intermezzo I want to play to free the back rank? Feels unnecessary, also feels inaccurate. I'm going to play d3. And just like that, we have come to the next fan interaction section of the Chess Today show. If you're just joining us by chance and it's your first Chess Today show, it is a daily show when we can make it happen, taking you into the world of a chess.com contributor, staff member, providing you some education on their daily chess moves, them solving the daily puzzle, and just having some fun, kind of podcast style. Let's get in touch with what's going on in the chess world that day. It might as well be called the chess world today. And on that note, the content aspect of today's show, obviously the big story is this one here. Magnus Carlsen lost to Vladimir Kramnik, which puts Vladimir Kramnik within striking distance. So let's actually go to 2700chess.com and see what the ratings are, right? This is interesting. Wow. Magnus Carlsen is as low rated as he has been in years, right? Years and years. So that's an interesting storyline for us to keep track of. And I think if you're following the Norway chess tournament to see who wins and appreciating the high quality chess, you're already doing yourself a favor. But now you have another reason to follow the Norway chess tournament. And if you're wondering, of course, all the news reports are brought to you by Peter Dockers, the man on site. We send him everywhere. And we really believe in investing in chess news and in the top community. So we send Peter all over the world. And if it's a big event, we are covering it on chess.com. And my wife is really irritated with me now. LOL, right? Come on, LOL. All right, so the show's coming to an end here pretty soon. I want to check in with the fans and see what the conversation has been about Magnus, and also do what I like to do before we sign off. As always, remind you what is on the Chess TV schedule both today and this week. So, if habla español un poquito. Habla Español, Luis Salinas is just awesome. He's hilarious. He is our major Spanish contributor. So Luis is taking on the world, and he is hosting his show on chess.com TV in like 2 minutes. So if you want to stick around right after this show, maybe improve your Español. Or if you speak Spanish, then have some fun engaging with our Spanish content community. We are currently offering original content, which includes videos and TV shows and articles in most of the major chess languages, and we've been really doing a lot to try to bring people more opportunities to get better at chess in many different languages this year. Sergei Shipov, known as Crest, everyone knows him in Russia. We have a contract relationship with him. Luis is our Spanish guy. We've got content in Portuguese from Grandmaster Krikor Merikitin. We have I think I said that. I don't even know if I said that right. But anyway, we got Kevin Bordy, Blitzstream, doing stuff in French. So if you speak one of those languages, you got to check it out. We got Georg Meyer now is doing regular stuff in German. So tons of stuff that you will see more and more international languages on chess.com. Right after that, what do we got? Tomorrow, I am also hosting the Chess Today show, apparently. And then I am also doing a Bullet Brawls on Friday, so mark your calendar early. We're going to do that. And, of course, don't miss the recap of Norway Chess, where Yermo and David Pruitt might be talking about Magnus Carlsen's fall from the top. So, awesome stuff. And yeah, awesome stuff. And the world continues. Let's check in with the chat before anything changes here. And it was not an Australian accent I put on. That was an English sort of Cockney accent. So that was wrong. I can correct you that, physics, in the Chess TV chat. Last time Magnus Carlsen was 28-18 was 2011. It's amazing how long and how accustomed we have been to Magnus Carlsen and his dominance of his peers. I mean, seriously, like, nobody, I mean, Kasparov stayed at number one, but his dominance wasn't such that he was like increasing. I mean, remember the conversations where we're talking about, will Magnus Carlsen make 2,900? And I bet against that for the exact practical reason that I just didn't see it as possible to maintain that level of decisively positive results against his peers. So just amazing stuff. I mean, he's still incredibly strong, and to me, still clearly the best player on the planet. But just interesting stuff to see Magnus there, and we know he's not happy. So interesting stuff. Let's check into the Twitch chat. Hang my lunch pack, I guess. Hang my he says that he Merakitan, yeah. Megarita. Making fun of my mispronunciation of Krikor's name. Danny, which video series would you say are essential to watch for intermediate players? Wow. David Pruse's videos are phenomenal. Simon Williams' videos are probably our most entertaining. I love Simon, but Simon is also, his videos don't have the same structure where there's a series. I personally think that the two series I did designed to contribute to both aspects of chess, tactics and positional, are Pawn Structure 101 and patterns everyone must know. So if you're talking about intermediate players needing to have, you need to have all those tactical patterns memorized and mastered, and you need to be able to look at a pawn structure and see the forest through the trees. You need to be able to look at a position and not get caught up in all the tactics and know what the potential plan is that's long-term, that's strategical, and know all the little ins and outs of that. So to me, a balance of those two thought processes in every critical moment is really the key to being, of course, there's a lot more to being a great chess player, but I think that those two things, those two series I did were kind of designed to that. I need to contribute more to both those series. I know, stop yelling at me. Z Nation Chess is very upset with me that I have stopped the Pawn Structure series. You're right. Oh, man. My priorities, just so you know, this year, I am getting back on the train and the track that is, more and more content for our premium members and basic members, and just being engaged and involved. And we've had so much in this last year. Chess.com has grown from 50 to almost 100 employees. We love the work opportunities. We have so many people doing awesome things. And so we've just had a lot of growth in the last couple of years, and we're trying to stay on top of that and make sure everybody's doing what is best for the community and all that stuff. So it's tough sometimes to split your time. So. Will I ever do another series like live sessions with longer time control games? I will do another series on that and provide some educational insight into like longer game thought processes. So I will. I love the engagement here on Twitch. You guys are asking all these questions, and best series that every intermediate needs to know. I cannot agree with Sol Dorna's more is The Last Airbender. Taught by Zuko's uncle. I believe I was Uncle Iroh in my past life. Just for the record. Everyone's like, oh, I'm Uncle Iroh. No, I was Uncle Iroh in my past life. Called it, no samesies. Jinx 1 through 10, you owe me a Coke. Danny is out. Don't go anywhere, everybody. Right now, Luis is starting, and stick around because the best Spanish show with the most entertaining chess teacher in native Spanish speaker is about to start.